Hi, I'm Fayme Harper. My friends at AllFreeKnitting.com asked me to show you how to do a very basic stitch in knitting called ribbing. Now I'm going to show you how to do ribbing on a project that's already started. First of all, make sure you have an even number of stitches along the top because this is 2 by 2 ribbing, and so you're going to need multiples of 2 to make it work. So I have 48 stitches on there. And it's not uncommon when you're a beginner to start out with 48 stitches and find out that you're down to 37 or something. So you want to count every now and then to make sure you didn't drop anything. Okay, now we're going to do ribbing. So on the first stitch, you're going to knit 2. 1, 2. Now, you're going to bring your yarn forward to purl, and you're going to purl 2. 1. Remember, you go in the front on the purls, 2, and then put your yarn in the back, 2 knitting, pull forwards, 2 purling. You're going to go all the way down that row, alternating between 2 knit, 2 purl. That is probably the most common ribbing. There is also 1, 3 and 1, 1, depending on what you're making. Just follow whatever your pattern says. Okay, when you get to the end of the row, turn it around, and the first 2 stitches going back are going to be knit stitches. So you're going to knit 2, bring your yarn forwards, and you'll see 2 little cross pieces, which means that was a purl. You're going to purl the purls and knit the knits. So you're going to purl 2. So if you ever forget and lose count, you can look at your stitches and see which ones are knitting and which ones are purling. See, there's crossbars, so that's purl. So you can do 2 purls. And you know, ribbing will seem like it takes forever when you first learn. It gets better though, once you get a rhythm going down. My needles are so long they're hitting the table. My apologies for the noise. See. So from here on to the end of the, I'm making mitts, to the end of the mitts, you're just going to keep repeating that pattern. Knit all the knits, purl all the purls. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple rows so I can show you what that looks like. After about 4 rows, you can begin to see what your ribbing looks like. And I'm just going to make the ribbing at the end the same length as at the beginning. Now, one thing about ribbing, when you go to bind off, you don't want to lose your stretchiness after you went to all that trouble to put it in there. So when you go to bind it off, there's some special instructions, which I'll tell you in a minute. I finished my ribbing, and I'm back on the stockinette stitch side, and it's time to bind it off. And like I said, you want to bind it off in such a way that you don't lose your stretchiness. So my first 2 stitches are knit, so I'm going to go ahead and knit 2. 1, 2. Now, to bind off, I'm going to take the right side stitch over the left side stitch and drop it off the needle. Now I have 1 left. Now, because the next stitch is purl, I'm going to bring my yarn forward, purl the next stitch, and then bring that stitch over. It's a little more tricky that way. So now there's 1 more stitch. So I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to purl the purls and knit the knits 1 by 1, binding each one off, like so. Remember, when you're knitting, yarn goes in the back. You'll have to keep moving your yarn back and forth as you change stitches. Knit. and then pull one stitch over the other. And that will keep its stretchiness when you're all done. Then when you get to the end, my last stitch is a purl. So, let's see. Those are the last two stitches. And sometimes with the last one it's easier to just do it with your finger so you don't drop your knitting needle. Lift it over. And then I would go ahead and cut it right here and pull the tail through there. So I'm going to leave enough yarn to sew the side together. And grab the tail, pull it through to keep it from unraveling. And then eventually when I'm done with my mitts, I will sew the side seams together here with that long tail. Alright, there you have it. See how stretchy it is on the top because I cast it off that way? And enjoy making your ribbing. Stretchy. Alright, that's it. Well, enjoy making ribbing, and I'd love to see what you're making. And drop me a message. So have a good, fun knitting day. Toodles!